How did you have the? I mean, for lack of a better phrase, I know this is a negative sort of Glaswegian term, but I mean this in a positive way. But how did you have the neck to stand up to a major record label? You know what I mean? Like, I know people, I know guys that have been in bands that have been signed to major record labels, and it's no went the way that they've wanted. And when I hear their stories, it's always been they've took too much advice off of A&R, they've took too much advice off of management. It sounds to me like you've been really true to yourself and you've been like, nah, fuck you, I want what I want, I've got a vision and I'm going to honour it, which is something that I don't imagine very many people coming for the East End of Glasgow would have the balls to really do that and stand up to like these people that are ultimately in charge of like, millions and millions of pounds, you know what I mean?
Especially out your element in a different country, away from home, you know, all these things in the mix as well, you know what I mean? Like,
no, do you know what, but I probably sound stronger than maybe... it's true, all the things that I'm saying, but I think that there's been times in my life I've been uncertain about like maybe things and I've been a bit more shy, or I would not really... but I think it was just because it was just... The idea is telling me, James, don't fucking do that. You can't do it. It's the voices telling me, and so clearly this is the words to the song. It's like getting an envelope through the post or something, you open it and it's a song. It never felt that I was writing a song, or what it would feel like was that you get into like some kind of weird hypnotic kind of for 20 minutes and then you look and there's ink on the paper and you're like, whoa, what happened there? You don't really feel that you've wrote the thing or had the idea. It's almost as like somebody's just telling you. Now if I didn't have that as strong, that feeling, like this is the way it's meant to be, then if I was uncertain, I think it's just human nature, you would probably be a bit more just unsure of where to go, and I think everybody would probably be maybe making the right choices then, but because it was just so loud in my ear, this is not meant to be like that, it's meant to be like this. When it comes to the artwork or the music or whatever, then, and everybody, normally people run about me have been, it's a few things. It's probably like the same thing I'm talking about my ma, saying don't get the job, right? If you rewind back a bit, right, if my ma would have been like, well, maybe you should get the job because maybe it's like, who knows, maybe you don't, maybe I'm not developed, whatever. Mm-hmm. Then fast forward to later, I'll be sitting with the label and I'll be saying, maybe they do know what they're talking about, maybe I shouldn't. But I didn't. I had a different kind of, even with my stepdad and all that, it's like he was quite embarrassing at times, to be honest, because he would just be like, you know what, on a Saturday morning at the football, he'd be like, James, at half time, that's my stepdad, he'd just be like, James, what you did? Tell them you want the ball. Tell them to give you the fucking ball. You're better than them. You're better than them. And I'd be so embarrassed, man. And all the other dads would be standing there with their boys. They'd be like, who the fuck's he talking to?
You're allowed to think it, you're not supposed to say it.
He'd be like, don't walk with your shoulders hunched like that. Fucking get your chest out, man. He'd just like, you know what I mean? He'd just be like, he's still like, he texted me last night during the Champions League final. Oh, you should have been playing for one of them. You'd have been in that team. And I'm just like, he's still pure, do you know what I mean? So it's the things probably there. But I guess I try and as well, but like I try and listen to other people, especially as I'm getting a bit older. I'm trying to try and understand somebody else's point of view, and they'll just be try and listen to what other people are telling me and try and understand where they're coming from. And I think back in the day, I was a wee bit more out of control and just a bit more like I would maybe only know how to maybe be a wee bit more aggressive, I think, which I never really felt that good about, you know what I mean? If I was a bit more like, you know what I mean, my ma could have done better than all that. After it, I always feel sorry for, do you know what I mean, if I've said stuff like that, so... Mm-hmm. So I think that there's maybe a way where it can be a wee bit of a better balance, you know what I mean? Where you can listen, but you can still sort of try and like kind of a wee bit more gently get your point across as well, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, man, and that's all part of growing older. I'd read somewhere that McGee was involved in the early stages of the band. What type of character was he to deal with? Especially, like, I mean, I'd read a story about him and Carol Bratt for Libertines coming to see he's playing Tuts, and I was thinking that is every indie band's dream, is for Alan McGee to be in the crowd at King Tuts and see their band playing, because of the Oasis thing, and that's why people go to Tuts. I mean, it's a great event. It's a fantastic fucking venue with a great sound system, but everybody flocks to Tuts because of that story. But what kind of characters is he? I've seen the Upside Down, like the story, the documentary, Creation Records, and he just seemed like an absolute maniac. But what was your experiences with him?
He's a big. He's got a heart of gold for a start. That's one of the biggest things that I love about him. Right? He's funny, he's hilarious. So yes, he's really. He can be quite. It can be quite surprising the way that he'll look at something. You know, I remember, like, I've played a gig before that I thought was great. Then after it, he'd be like, "It's all right." Yeah. I'd be like, right. And then the other things I just thought wasn't. I didn't think he would have really thought into it. And he's been blown away by it. He's kind of got his own frequency, where he'll sort of be drawn towards a certain thing, and it won't be. A lot of times it's quite unexpected. You know what I mean? Which for the bands that he'd signed, it's not like everybody was trying to sign the bands.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
No.
It's no, that was his own sort of, you know what I mean? It's like, maybe he never expected it to go the way it went, but who can fully say this is the thing, this is how high it's going to go? But there had to be some kind of like belief there to put the money behind the thing, and it's not like, as I say, it's not other people were like all rushing to like kind of. It wasn't like he was sort of like part of a crew that was trying to sign the same band or whatever. But he's a beautiful guy. So yes, really is. And I think that over the years I've got to know him more and more. Even now I'm getting to know him more and more. You know what I mean? And he's kind of like my uncle or something. You know what I mean? Kind of feels like my uncle.
What a fucking uncle that would be to have, mate. Fucking hell, man. Like, but I agree with you, man. Like, I think, like, when you hear the story of him seeing Oasis, and he's like, I just heard that lyric if you bring it on down, and he's like, that one lyric, I was just pure, wait a minute, I might sign this mob, and then by the time they play Columbia, he's like, I'm fucking signing them. And it's that, but that's similar to something that you spoke about earlier on, where you were like, I would like this one chord change. And sometimes it's these wee things that you just see something, and you just see something in somebody, or you just hear this one wee tiny wee thing, and you hear greatness, and then other people are standing there going, I don't hear what you're hearing. And that's something that I really admire about Alan McGee is that he's never went for the easy option when it comes to a band anyway, for fuck's sake. Like, he's definitely never went for the easy option. But he seems like such a down-to-earth guy for somebody that has been a kingmaker at one point in time. Do you know what I mean?
He is. And sometimes it's even to the point where I'm just like, if I was in his position, I don't know if I would be as, I don't know, I don't know if I would like to think I would be, but I don't know if I would be that, like, I don't know if it would have messed me up more. You know, I don't know, but I love his kindness. That's the thing that would always kind of draw me back, kind of thing, and it's hilarious. Like, but I was talking to him the other day actually. He's got a new movie coming out and all that, like a movie about his life, kind of thing. Well, as much as a movie can be about a person's, it's like 2 hours long or something. But
did they not get like fucking Danny Boyle to direct or so? Is there not something crazy happening with Alan McGee's autobiography?
But Danny Boyle's, and he's amazing, isn't he? Danny Boyle's.
Oh, fine.
I mean, it's, you know,
that'll be ridiculous.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's got to be at a level. It's going to be good to a level.
Absolutely.
How good it's got to be when a guy like that's in. Allan Welsh wrote the thing. You know what I mean? Allan Welsh is amazing as well.
So Allan Welsh wrote the screenplay or whatever for the... Holy fucking shit, man. Wow. Well, that'll just be like, I mean, it's going to be a success just based off the fact that the two are involved in it, isn't it? Like, but that story's going to be incredible. I mean, coming Feasible Bride and then fucking absolutely just ramming the music industry in the 90s, man. Like, we'll look forward to that, man.
I mean, it changed everything. I was going to say, like, as you were saying, like, you know, when you look back on it, I think to yourself, for the guy that, you know, found and signed Oasis, created a new mainstream. So when you were saying, oh, he's got quite, you know, niche tastes and stuff like that, like, it doesn't seems a bit of an odd thing to say about the guy. But then when you think about what the music scene was before him, I mean, we were still listening to bloody Kylie Minogue and like shit dance music. You know what I mean? Like, it literally pretty much overnight changed the entire thing with one band.
Scottish guys, if you think about my childhood, if I think to my childhood, it's Danny Boyle, Owen Welsh, and Alan McGee probably a part of what my clearest memories would be in my childhood. My childhood isn't like it's not even a band really. If I think about my childhood in one song, it would probably be like Underworld, Born Slippy, for the movie Trainspotting.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because at that time, and then like with Allan was doing the things with Oasis at the time, and Trainspotting came out with Owen Welsh wrote that, didn't he? And then it's Danny Boyle. So I guess with the three, that's kind of like that's the clearest sort of impact, or the biggest impact or something it's had on, like, you know, you walk past a shop and the radio's on, and a motor goes past something, and it's something for that, either Oasis or it's that Born Slippy or something like that.
Aye, for sure. If you think back to that time, there's probably, we'll go through the sort of 3 degrees of separation between the three of them. They probably had their hand or their influence on everything at that point in time.
That's you say that much better than what I was trying to say there.
the 2 years of podcasting coming out there. Right? So the album, it goes in at number 2 in the UK charts, and I think like for not even just a band for Glasgow, but for an indie band at the time to get beat to number 1 by Metallica, like, it's an incredible achievement. I listened back to the debut twice yesterday, and I don't know how much you've listened to it, but that fucking thing is as fresh as the day it came out, man. Like, there are certain things that I listen back to. One of them's definitely Maybe, one's Nirvana's Nevermind. There's a couple others in there, but there's certain albums that don't date, and they just seem timeless. And honestly, I'm not even just saying this because you're on my podcast. That album is fucking timeless, man. Like, see when Geraldine came on, I get shivers like the fucking first time I heard that. It was like that hook in the chorus, and I was thinking, it takes so long for that hook to come in, and I fucking love that about that song. Like, aye, man, like the success of it.
What I don't like about these podcasts with the video, when you're saying things like that, and then everybody can see my big fucking goofy smile. And I'm trying to be like cool, and I'm like,
I'm into all
inside me, I'm just like giggling like a wee, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking, I'm sure lucky, man. Like, so lucky, and you're right in the way that when I hear the thing back, then I don't think about it as like songs that I've wrote. I just think about it as like it was something that I've been a part. I've been involved with. I've been a part of the thing, and it's like having a bunch of wee cats and dogs, like wee pets. I always say, and it's like somebody, like, it's basically like somebody in the park, and they look at your dog and you're like, oh, it's a gorgeous wee thing, and how you feel about it. You don't think oh, this, I'm wonderful at it. You don't think that, because it's not really good. You know what I mean? It's just like a wee kind of. So, but that, and I'd always love that, because it's like everybody would want their pets to be loved. You know what I mean? Nobody's want to take their dog to the park, and somebody look at it and be like, fucking that ugly mutt. You know what I mean? Nobody wants that. You know,
I've never heard somebody make that analogy that their songs or their albums are like their pets, man. Like, their kids maybe. Like, but that's such a humble way of looking at it, man. That's really humble to detach yourself from it and think that it's part of you. It's something that you've put out there and you've let go, and it's got its own story. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's nice that you say it's humble, because I told the same thing to my sister, and she says, James, that's called not taking responsibility. That's what that is.
Detaching
so
yourself.
What you're saying is, James, you're painting this to be like a nice thing, but then you're just saying, well, the song just happened and all that. That's no taking responsibility. That's what that is. So you've said that a lot better. I'm gonna get her to watch this back and what you just said.
Take some notes down, man.
Around about the time you were playing some, and I say you touched on it with Wembley, like some mammoth gigs with some absolutely huge bands, like say Barfly and Tuts and Sleazy's, like to that type of platform. Like, what's your kind of like overall or your overriding sort of memories of the experience?
But sometimes it would just be a wee bit maybe confusing. Sometimes it would be like that. Sometimes it would be a bit, and you're just a lot of times it would like we toured America and all that, and we were playing in like Seattle on a Tuesday night, and in the audience, like their audiences weren't a lot of the time like jumping about. They would just stand like really still, and I would just be like, I wonder like the odd. Like, you know, sometimes you get lost in the thing, so you're not really that aware if anybody's enjoying it. I never really can pick out people in the audience or whatever, but then that the odd thought would jump into your head. I wonder if anybody like is enjoying it. And then when you would think that, then you get to the end of the gig and everybody would just be like going crazy, like you know what I mean, like applauding, like it was just some mad, and I'd just be like, I wasn't expecting that, you know what I mean, like it's kind of surprising. But I think that when we done, say, kind of just takes you a couple of gigs. I mean, we done like say a few gigs with you too, and I remember like it was just like this stage that was in the middle of the stadium or something like that, and it was like there was no back to the stage. And I hate open doors in the house. Right? It's because I was brought up with my mad doing that. James, shut the door. Right? So I hate open doors, right? So when I walked on the stage, we never sound checked it, and so the first gig was in Ireland, I think. And we walked on in a stadium, and it was just like, I hate this. I've not even sound checked. You basically got to walk on and play. And it's like, it's not even that there's a door. There's no door. There's no back to the stage. There's nothing. It's just you're pure like stuck out in the middle of the. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't like that. You know what I mean? You feel like tiny wee ant because you're like, you can see people with Brazil flags and all that, like that are just like the Brazil flags are just pure waving like that in the background. Feel like tiny wee things because it's just as far as your eye can see, like just people. And then the next gig was at Wembley. Still, you turn around and you see yourself on a screen that's about 200 feet tall, man. You know what I mean? It's pure like going right up your nose. You know what I mean? Right into your fucking your pure, and you're just like, that's just bizarre. And I picked up there was a sun cream on the stage, and I thought it was the other band that played with us. I thought, oh, they've left their sun cream. I don't know what to do because I don't know if my performance is going to be. This is psychologically, that's what I was probably thinking. I don't think I'm only going to be able to sing a couple of tunes, but I don't really know what to do. So it's like I picked up the sun cream and I started like putting the sun cream in, and I must have swatted something doing my trousers, and then you know what I mean. And then after the gig, one of U2's crew came up to us and was like, "That's Bono's sun cream." I was like, all right, fuck. You know what I mean?
Fucking yes. Stole Bono's sun cream, man. Brilliant. It's not like he can't afford another bottle of fucking sun cream, but fucking hell.
Only I'm stupid enough, but to not have the common sense to be like, it must be Bono's. I thought it's probably the band who were below us on the bill. What band takes sun cream on the stage with them? You know what I mean?
Aye, U2.
I would be U2, aye. But my logic was it must be the bands that was playing before us, aye, cool. But,
what's it like playing with bands like that? Like, what's it like meeting people like Liam and Noel Gallagher, or U2, like Bono and Edge? Like, do you feel like they're just normal people, or do you get this like, holy fucking shit, like that's fucking Bono standing in front of me or whatever?
Aye, it is a bit like. I think a part of you is probably you're seeing people for just being people. So a part of you is not really thinking along your lines, but maybe then the odd time you're hit with reality, like the times that you've been moved by the music and other things over the years. You know, I remember being younger and U2 were playing at Celtic Park and all that, and hearing that echo feel at a distance. You know, that the sound when it's coming through, like, and I was outside the stadium kicking a ball about. So then when U2 were sound checking in Ireland, and I went out a run before the gig. I was running in the stadium, I could hear the music the same way, and it just took me right back to Kilmarnock, you know what I mean? It took me right back. I was like, it was one, you know, when you smell something and it's just like, so it was one of these old U2 songs that I blasted in it, and I'm just like, fuck, what decade is this, man? Where am I? Who am I? How did I get with my day? How am I playing with that? But to be honest with you, I think that them being so sweet, same thing I was talking about Fergie and all that, it's like certain people that we know, and Liam, I'm very in touch with Noel, you know what I mean? I'd send Noel a text or whatever, that kind of, no with Liam, I'm never in touch, but Liam was they're sweethearts. They're like, I mean, really, and I mean, sweethearts in a way that it makes me think that I wish I was better. I wish I was a wee bit, makes you think I wish I was a bit kinder. I wish I would go out my way a wee bit more the way they do, you know what I mean? Which is probably not really the thing. When you don't know people, you don't really know these things, you know what I mean? Like the first night was in Munich with Oasis, and Liam was like, it was pitch black at the side of the stage. It's a Tuesday night in Munich or something. He's done it, he's been there, done it before, you know what I mean? And even at this point, we've done it, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? We've played Munich and all that, so it's like a Tuesday night in Munich or something. And this guy standing, it was like, really that pitch black, you couldn't make out who it was standing like across. We got ready to walk on stage, and I was like, what's that guy there? And I was like, it's Liam. I was like, alright. So I shouted there, I was like, Liam, you alright? And he was like, aye. I was like, what are you doing? He was just standing like pitch black, you know what I mean, against a wall. And he's like, I'm just making sure you're alright, you're on stage and all that, I'm just making sure you're alright. You know what I mean? I was just like, so a 5-minute walk through the dressing room to what the fuck would they be? Why would they care? And he was like that, that's the way he was. And I was thinking, fuck, I don't do that for the bands that support us. You know what I mean? I'm normally like, I'll be fucking shit, having a shave and all that. You know what I mean? But with other bands fucking carrying their gear and all that, and it's like, so it does make you think, oh, that's how you treat people, that's what you do, that's the right way to do it. So it's like, if I could say it about Oasis, it's like they know how to set a good example, which is probably not what you'd expect to hear.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man.
Perception again.
You two were the same. It's like fucking. I went to see them in Stockholm. It was my birthday, so my sister I said, "Can I want to go and see you too?" They're playing, and my sister's like, "Right, I'll organise it," kind of thing. So when you get to the stadium, you have to phone the lassie that works with you too, and I was thinking, alright, cool. I just thought you'd just go in to the guest list, you'll go in. And so I phoned this lassie, she came down to get us. And then before they had to cancel the gig halfway through because somebody brought in a gun or something like that to the gig.
Fuck's sake.
Somebody, so you know what I mean? And then they're like, fuck this, somebody got to give a gun again tonight, you know what I mean? It's like, no, never mind that, you know what I mean? It's James's birthday, you know what I mean? But so I went into the thing with the lassie, and it took me through these wee corridors, and then she pulled this curtain back. It was all these candles that were everywhere, and like all this champagne that was everywhere. I was just like, what's this? And she was like, this is your room. It's your birthday.
Wow.
And so I'm just like, what the fuck's this, man? Like, cool. So I sat down on the couch, the sweet couch, like, this is good. Champagne or something like that. And she was like, I'll get you a set list and that. I'm sitting there, and then curtain, pop back, it's Bono. He's like, I've got you a cake. And then Bono walks in with this, before the gig, you know what I mean, like this bottle of whiskey and this big wooden thing. He's like, says, and when he gave me it, I was just looking at it and I was that confused because I was like, that's not a cake. And I was purely confused about that. I've no problem with if you say to me there's a cake and it's a bottle of whiskey, I'll be pure confused and look at it like, it's not a cake. And then the Edge walks in, it's like happy birthday, and then Larry walks in, Adam walks in, you know what I mean?
That's incredible,
it's
man.
Like they're going on stage, right? And they're just sitting about like Fred, just like talking away, and so I'm just like, I don't do that. I would never and think of doing that, right? So then the band go on stage, I'm standing there with this bottle of whiskey, like fucking stadium, people, mad show and all that. And then this lassie walks up, taps me on the shoulder, and she's like, "You James Allan?" I says, "Aye." She says, "Can I take the bottle back to the..." She says, "Adam," and he signed it. So when Adam was walking on stage, he turned around and he said, "Go and get the bottle of whiskey back, because I've not signed James's bottle of whiskey." You know what I mean? So they just walked on stage. I've walked out, they've walked on stage. The lassies came and fund me. We'll get a guy to bring it to your house tomorrow in Stockholm. Next day, a guy turns up in a black motorbike.
Fucking bottle of whiskey.
Black visor on it, the bottle of whiskey, and away. It's like a mad machine. It's like the U2 machine.
Aye, man.
But to think like that, when you're playing in front of like thousands of people, and he's going to go around it, and he's just like, "Oh, the bottle of whiskey."
That's incredible, man. I mean, like you said, that is the complete polar opposite of what you think to expect for people like that are hitting these heights, making that money. And to think that they've got that level of consideration, man, I mean, it's testament to why they're still active and why people are still so interested in them. And it comes down to they're just good people. Do you know what I mean? And
I know.
That's a fucking great story, man.
I sent Noel a text. I'm sorry, I can't help it, because I like to tell people these things, because like, it's nice, and it's like I nobody care about what people think of that, but it's like I sent him a photo of my trainers. It was like, my man got a pair of Adidas for my Christmas, so I sent him a photo of these, and I was like, "Check these are fucking amazing, these things, man." Right, these Adidas Gazelles, all black. He's just look the size of you, like, and I was like, size 9, and he's like, I think he said something like, "What is that, a 43?" I was like, "I'm fucking them. You're from Manchester, I'm from Glasgow. We deal with UK sizes, man."
Aye, no, right? Fucking European sizes.
No, whatever. And so I was like, I think, 40, I don't know what it is anyhow, but, and then next thing I know in the post, it's like, you know, that pair of Adidas in my size. You know what I mean? Opening it up, and I'm like, fuck, these are amazing. Just like, that's what he's like.
A wee gift for Noel Gallagher, that's fucking brilliant, man. That's it, man. They get painted a certain way, and even in like the media and stuff. And it's so cool to hear stories about people that have been like your heroes growing up, and they're fucking sending people trainers in the post. You know what I mean? Replying to your text messages. It's fucking brilliant.
But no, it's hilarious in the way that he's just like, even if it's no. If I'm talking to him, if I see something we know talking or whatever, then he just cracks me up. Like, he's hilarious, man. But it was like, you know, I mean, to give an example, what he's like, and that's how you can get the right end of the stick with him, right? So I went down one night myself to see him playing in Stockholm, right? So he's playing in Stockholm, and I was like, "Oh, I'm here. So cool if I come down on that." He's like, "Aye, cool, of course, man, come down." So I'm down to the gig, and I'm standing, and it's in this fairground kind of big place, right? I'm standing there myself, man, and it's like, he's like, "Oh, this is my pal James. He's moved here to Glasgow, and this is Champagne Supernova." He plays a song, and I'm standing there, man, just like, fuck, this is mental, man. This is like, do you know what I mean? This is how I get into a band. This is what I was listening to when I didn't want to go into training, and it seemed like about to hear Pluto miles away. This was like, man, it's mental. So then he's played the song, and it was like one of the guys in the crowd, one of these like, you know, European, like kind of nice floppy hair, like nice guy, was kept shouting for certain songs. And Noel turned around, and he was just like, so after he dedicated the song to me, and Noel turned around to this guy, and he's just like, he says, "You fucking buy the t-shirts, I pick the songs, alright?" And the guy says, "Sure." And I just get this love, man, with this guy. But it's just hilarious. It's his sense of humour as well.
Aye,
you know
absolutely.
Only Noel could this guy that pure adores Noel, and he keeps shouting for the songs, and it just bugs Noel. He's just like, you shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Just as time's getting on, mate, like, I'm loving hearing these stories, and it's incredible, but I just want to move on to the second album, and just so that we're not using up too much of your time, mate. Like, what type of did you feel like? I mean, the second album feels like a mountain to a lot of people. Some people get it right, some people don't. Did you feel like a lot of pressure after the success of your debut, having to like produce a second album? And did you like, what was your process like? Was it the same as the first time? Did you just try and replicate it, or did you just let it flow like you were talking about?
I just it was the same. You know what I mean? Thing is, I've always, every song I've ever done, I've just felt a lot of pressure. But it's pressure like just to get it to a place that is true to the way I imagined it could have been before. You know what I mean? And it's no easy, I don't think, to get it to that point. It's never been easy, none of the songs. You know what I mean? But there's always really good memories attached to making the songs. And it was the same with that one. It was just a lot of mad but quite hard memories as attached to all the songs. But no, I mean, a part of it was, to be honest with you, a part of it I was probably just quite excited to. I didn't really feel the second album that way, because we'd recorded that Christmas thing.
Oh, the EP.
And that was like 6 songs, so that was after the album came out. So it was basically like, you know, I remember like going to like when we first toured in America. I'd missed my visa appointment to go to America, so the band went to America. I'd been up like out with Carol one night, and I'd missed this appointment. The band went to Nottingham. I was still in London, walking about with a t-shirt on, pure freezing. And it was just like a mad. So I missed that. So then they went to America. So then when I was getting the flight up myself, then that's when I'd maybe wrote some of the Christmas album songs on the flight. So it was kind of like trying to like, it was always kind of like that anyhow. It wasn't like having that time to do the first album. And then, I mean, because I think even when we signed a record deal, I think we had maybe like 7 of the songs on the album, but maybe another 3 weren't written yet.
Right.
So then it was like, all right, I better write it. It was kind of always, it was always kind of like, no rushed, but it was always kind of like, right, need to get these songs together, even if they're no written kind of thing. And I was just, it was quite excited by it. I was never feeling like, oh, fuck, I don't know what to write here, but I was always relieved as well when it did happen, because I knew that there's never any guarantees kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I just enjoyed probably just being a dreamer and just like making up songs. I mean, the stuff I was talking to you about earlier on with the electricity and all that wasn't that long before that. So if somebody was to say, how do you feel about the pressure? Probably really wasn't. It's probably it's pressure because there's expectation and there's a different kind of, and you do quickly get used to there's people depending on this thing. But it really wasn't that long before it either that was like, you know, it was a lot worse kind of thing, a lot harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think that pressure that we were talking about is what is ultimately the pitfall for people when they try and get to that second album? Again, I've had mates that have recorded second and third albums, and sometimes they try and it's almost like they try and make something that they think that people want to hear because they've got their fan base.
That's just because it's impossible to do that, because it's like, I mean, there's been so many things that I've thought was amazing, right? It was so good. We things that I'd maybe recorded or done in the past, and I've let somebody else hear it, and maybe they like a different song that I wrote that I don't really think that much of. Yeah, everybody's got different sort of. So how the fuck could you tailor some new song for a lot of people? Because I'd be really in it. I think there's some people that can kind of do that seem to be able to make songs that, but I don't know how it's started. I don't know how they can do it, you know what I mean? But I think that'd be a big gamble. It's like Neil Young was saying about, I would rather die once, you know what I mean? And I think it's like that. Die once, make what you want to make, and just that's your death, that's it. If you don't write for your heart, and then people don't connect with it, then you're going to die twice, and that's worse. You know what I mean? You get the death, sell it, like just no making something for the heart, and you've got the second death, which is nobody actually connecting with it anyhow. You know what I mean? I'd rather die once.
I think it comes back again to that thing you're saying before about, you know, when you're talking about sitting in the conference call with the, you know, marketing executives and having that ability to defend your vision. You know what I mean? Like, I think why an artist would go through the process of that in the first instance with an album and then ditch it to kind of almost write to a brief for the pigeonhole they've been put in seems like a really weird concept to me in general. So I'm glad that that's something that you feel like you're in a much more organic and sort of natural place with it.
I think that that was the one thing, they never was that much a nut job at that point. That they wouldn't they didn't no expectations of me actually kind of doing anything that they thought was the way that they wanted me to do it. They'd no expectations of that. They knew I was fucking mental, and that was it. So it was cool. We'd already built up that understanding by that point.
Fair enough.
Did you feel like there was a difference in, because like Mark was saying earlier on, and we didn't touch on it really, like, but there was a whole lot of, like, there was so much hype at the time when you guys first came out. Rightfully so, because I think people could hear that there was something brilliant. But do you feel like that there was a difference second time around when the second album came, that you didn't have like that sort of momentum pushing you behind you where you had all this sort of hype and stuff? Is that something you felt?
Maybe. There was a few things that happened within the making of the album that was like, for the business point of view, it was just a bit like, you know, like people that were mixing it and all that, that was like just never really worked it, you know what I mean? To cut a long story short, when I wrote some of the songs in Santa Monica, we were meant to be recording that in LA, but the person we were going to be working with was, when we sent him the songs, he just hadn't really been listening to the songs in preparation for us then got to record them. And it's like a lot of these guys, they've got like a backlog of things that they're trying to finish. And when we were doing the first album, I think that we had to wait for like 2 days before we started, because I think Weezer or something, he was like finishing the mix, because it's like everything's like needing done and doing, it's like things building up. So it's easier kind of just to say, maybe if you just write more songs kind of thing, then later on we'll be ready to record. And I'd heard that happening with so many bands that I'm pals with, people that have worked with the same people, that this is what they told them as well. So by this point I was just like, okay, well, we'll just work with somebody else, because whether I know these songs, like these songs, that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I want to record these songs that I've written. Simple as that. That's all. These songs that I wrote, I want to record them. That's it. I'm not. Yeah. If you want to think about it from a positive point of view and all that, that's cool. It's all right. But so we'll just work with somebody else. Then it was, oh no, actually, the songs are. Maybe I should have went into more detail about the songs. I think it could work or whatever. But by that point, I was going. You know what I mean? It was like I'm wanting to work with somebody else at this point, because I need to feel that. I can't be like, oh well, if the job's not there for you now, then are you going to like want to go back on what you were saying before? Because you might, no, fuck that. It's like I need a certain sort of a like belief, or a certain kind of like belief behind the thing that we're doing or whatever, and that's cool. We're all good. We're still pals, you know, blah blah blah. So then we went and worked in London. We had to get the album mixed. So the guy who we left in the beginning to work with somebody else, he was like, I'll mix it. So I was like, don't think that's a good idea. I go to LA and mix it with him, because I don't really know how the land lies, because it wasn't happy before that we had wanted to work with somebody else. No, it'll be fine, just go and do it. So I went to LA after London with Flood, went to LA, and then it was basically like, you fucked me, I'll fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, this was kind of like that in a wee way. And people are just people. We're all right. I mean, we've been all right. I've no hard feelings about it. That's just the way it was, though. And people can be sensitive. And I think that I should have dealt with things different. I should have probably went into more detail with him at the time when we were going to work with somebody else as to why and how, and I've been a bit more sensitive about it, I think. Part of me is probably just wanting to avoid the you know, like saying a difficult thing, so you just hide away from it. But then, so when we go to LA to mix, he's already been paid half of the fee, then that doesn't work out with him. Then you need to go and work with somebody else. Then you're paid thousands again. It's a lot of money for the mixing, really. And then I think by the time we were going to actually be promoting it, I just don't think there was as much money behind it as what maybe there should have been at the beginning of starting the recording. But that's who's to say that if you would have had the same thing for the promotion that it would have been different? You don't know. I think that the way to look at it is probably that, you know, you're fortunate that anybody is aware that you've got any songs, any material, because there's been a lot of amazing songs over the years, and you're lucky that you've got anything, you know? End of story. That's that. You're lucky you've got anything. You're lucky that anybody knows one song, never mind, oh, why did the second album not do? No.
Aye, absolutely, mate. That's so, like, that's incredibly insightful, man. You've wrote more than a couple of absolute fucking classics. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't like that.
No, but
stop video, like no.
But genuinely, like you're saying, like people maybe like that'll be like points that come up in conversation. You're doing interviews, people like, why did the second album not turn it? And just being like, look, I'm so privileged to have been where I'm, and you know what I mean. Not twice in your life. Professional football player, which is a dream for so many people, and then a fucking rock star, which is, do you know what I mean? Like, aye, man. Like, I think that obviously we're doing like interviews, we need to sort of touch on things like that. But I think the way that you've looked at that, maybe things might have turned out better had X, Y, and Z, but it didn't. So whatever. I've had the pleasure of doing what I've done, just like incredibly mature and. Like probably why, do you know what I mean? Like you're still here and you're still writing and you're still putting music out is because you've got that attitude, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's so refreshing to hear that for somebody who, in my eyes, is to be revered.
I think as well, if you're happy with your output, if you're happy with what you're putting out into the world, then none of the rest of it really matters anyway.
No, a big part of it is, you're right. A big part of it is I think that I'm normally that burnt out or tired by the end of it that I've not really got the energy, because all the time it's just hard to get to the point where you're happy with it. And once I'm at that point, I've nothing left. Which is probably a good thing. So if you just like knacker yourself out and just tire yourself out, working on the thing, you have no energy left to actually care if somebody likes it or not, do you know what I mean? Because you're fucked. You know what I mean? So maybe that's quite a good way to get about it. But that, and it's still the same now. It's like a lot of the time it's like it feels like, fuck man, I thought I would be better at this by now, you know what I mean? But it's still a mystery. But it's that kind of mystery, the songs that keeps you curious, you know what I mean? But and then there's like a fleeting sort of a 5% of the time you feel like you're commanding that enterprise, you know what I mean? And then in Allan 95, you just don't know what the fuck I'm doing, man. You know what I mean? So I wish it was a wee bit more than 5%.
That's it, man. I think the people that tap into that 5% end up writing One Direction songs. Like you were saying earlier, these people that somehow can just churn out hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, and that I think they tap into that 5%. How they do it? See, if people knew how to do that, like they would make a lot of money, because this is what everybody's seeking into. It's like this flow state. And how do you get here? And breathing exercises, and like you're saying, immerse yourself in what you're doing, and that magic might happen. It might not, but just enjoy what you're doing. I wanted to talk a wee bit about like what's coming up. Obviously, you've got an album about to come out, and you've dropped "Keep Me a Space," which I listened to when it came out on the 14th, and I've been listening to it a few times, and it's a cracking tune, man. An absolute cracking tune. It sounds like the back to the early stuff type thing, which is amazing to hear. But what's the thing with the drummers? Like, is it like Kurt Cobain, like, or like Spinal Tap? What's going on with the drummer situation? Like, you've had like 4 or 5 drummers.
No, this feels just like this is. I guess because when Jonna couldn't make some of the gigs last year, then Hingway with a drummer that came in, and then we had other times as well last year where it was. I think we had 2 different drummers last year. Well, Jona's she's from Sweden. She plays like a lot of bands over there. So I think that when we're going to be having gigs coming up, then it's quite hard for her to sort of navigate between playing for the other artists, playing with us, and it was kind of like it's one of the ones where we're just like, it's probably quite an unusual situation where we're just like, look, we don't want to hold you back for like other things that are coming up. And she's just like, I know, but I want to be there to play some of the gigs, and we're like, but like, we want things to work out good for you, not just for always best for us or whatever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's been one of the ones that's probably quite rare. The bands that were all totally cool with each other about it. You know what I mean? Right. And we're not just thinking, oh, this is just the best thing for us, no matter what's good for you or whatever. Because even if we're going to if we're going to practice, if we're going to get a practice together, it's just quite hard logistically to sort of and that's what bands kind of need to do. Yeah. But if you want to practice, but is it like, right, okay, let's get the flights to hotels not booked in to play some music there, so there's that side of it, I think, and then there's the other side of it. It's like, if she's got a tour booked and we've got one gig in Liverpool, and she's got a tour booked with another band, all right, let the other band down to come play Liverpool. It's just hard. That's you know what I mean? I don't really know the other ways around about it kind of thing. And then somebody else they come in and play with us. And then it's like, what do we do? How do we get with that? Do we say, right, you come and play with us, and then, but when you're not can make it, then you're not playing.
Mm-hmm. Aye, it's a tough one, man.
I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard to work out sometimes the best way to get with it. But so we don't really know how we're going to go about it next. You know what I mean? Like, if it would be somebody joining a band, or if it would be a wee bit more like casual or something. I don't know. I think it's one of the ones you just see how it goes, you know what I mean? Sometimes you let somebody else to join and all that, but you don't really know if you're going to, like, you know what I mean, just sick of their face after like 2 days, you know what I mean?
That's it, man. It's like a marriage, isn't it, man? Like, being in a band's like a relationship, man, and you can't just bend it.
I'd love to see the reaction to you putting up an advert in some of the guitar shops, though. You know what?
You know what, when we first started, it was like nobody wanted to be playing the drums in the band. That's the thing, so
that'd be different now.
We'll just kind of see how it goes, you know what I mean?
Need to wait and see, on. So when's the album due?
I think it's like April.
So it's April 2021, so you've dropped the first single quite early?
Aye, and then I think there's got to be like a few that will be released before it as well. Mm-hmm. So there'll be one like in a couple of months, few months, and then I think each month maybe leading up. I don't know if I'm meant to say that, but anyhow.
Well, if I need to cut it out,
Going exclusive.
If I need to cut it out, you can let me know.
Just do one of the overdubs, man. Just you overdub something different, like Bad Country, maybe. You know what I'm saying? And just you overdub it. I'll give you free rein, mate. Just anything you want. You know what I mean?
You've said it now, mate. I've got it now. But listen, mate, it's been incredible to talk to you, man.
This was the best podcast I've ever been on.
Oh, that's lovely.
and you're amazing. Chinese overdub.
Feel free to overdub it on me. No, it has been. No, by the way, it has been amazing. Do you know, I've not seen any other podcasts you've done. I think had done an interview like this ever, with the questions that you've been asked, that I've been asked, and but I hope it's been alright for you. And
mate.
It's like different. It's like you can tell that he's a really, really serious about what he's doing, and really this doesn't just take like sort of a pass the time. It's like it really means something to you. You can tell.
Oh, cheers, mate. I appreciate the comment, mate.
Thanks for having us. You know what I mean?
No,
thanks for making the time for us. It's been dynamite.
Aye, man. Like honestly, like talking to somebody like yourself that's had the experiences and came for the East End. And listen, man, it's been incredible to talk to you. Thanks for the opportunity to interview you. You're such a down-to-earth guy for a guy that's had so much success in his career. I know that you're just like, whatever, but
no, I'm just trying. It's just nice to hear. I mean.
And best of luck with the album, man. We'll be keeping an eye on it.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely, mate.
I made a promise to whom will not to you, so stop the party. I tried to reconcile a life I lived a while, just stop the party. To call my own, we'll end up burning bridges sat upon a selfish throne. I will march along this path of ambitious, forceful tides. I'll be dead before it crashes down before my eyes. I know we'll make it through smiles and trials of fire. We'll make the party. I see right through it, the great deceptive fade. You call the party. To call my own, we'll end up burning bridges sat upon a selfish throne. I will march along